It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to Sober University, your next step to successful recovery, with Cheryl Adler, who says if you are going to crave anything, crave living life to the fullest. Maximize all you have and squander nothing. This program provides information to help you get your physical, mental, and spiritual house in order. And now, the host of Sober University, Cheryl Adler.
Good evening. It's great to be here. Tonight's show is sponsored by me, Cheryl Adler, and my book, Sober University, Your Next Step to Successful Recovery, sold online at almost any online bookseller, and right here in Nyack-on-the-Hudson at the Pickwick Bookshop on Broadway. Please contact me anytime here at my home away from home, rocklandworldradio.com, and my website, soberuniversity.com, or call me at my professional office, 845-358-4652. Please join me right now live in the chat room by logging on to our website, rocklandworldradio.com, or call with your questions or comments at 845-353-2910. We are proud to be international, and we have listeners around the globe. Tonight, I am so pleased to introduce Frank, who is here to share his story of victory over addiction and the journey he took to be the success that he is today. I hope that you will be as inspired as I am by Frank's courage. Frank, welcome to Sober University.
Thank you, Sherry, for having me. I feel so excited to be here. I want to thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
welcome. Frank, we have a number of listeners who've been following our show since we started in November, and I'm sure that they would love to hear all about your story. So can you briefly give our listeners some background about your life, where you came from, and how your addiction affected you before you became sober?
Sure. I'll be happy to tell our listeners. I was born in Ireland, Dublin City. I left Ireland in '69. I immigrated here with my family, big, large Irish family. 8 kids, 8 boys and 3 girls, and my mother
family.
and father, yes. And we landed at Kennedy Airport. We lived in the Bronx. And for myself, drinking, I started to get caught up with drinking. I think as a young man, I never felt so good about myself. I always had this feeling of feeling unique, not a part of the club or the family, always feeling like an outsider.
Kind of like the black sheep?
The black sheep of the family, yes. And it was kind of, I always felt most times uncomfortable, always trying to fit in, try to be somebody I'm not, looking for people's approval.
That can be dangerous.
Yes.
Because then you can't be your true self.
Yes, and I probably many times have compromised my own identity by doing that. But I was also very gifted with imagination, and I think I always had a sense of humor. And I used to kind of be the clown of the family and do my impressions. And
I would love to hear your impressions.
Yes, maybe later I could.
You think later? You don't want to do any right now?
Well, I could do a few, yes.
Okay, how about if we just warm up our listeners with a couple of your fabulous impressions?
Sure. One of mine is Christopher Walker.
Go ahead.
Listen, I want you out of here. I got feelings, don't talk to me that way. That's not right, But, that's the way that is.
I can just picture Chris Walken doing that.
Yeah.
Because he's so zany, right?
Yeah, he's weird, kind of. Great actor, but
he's a fabulous
very
actor.
Strange, but great actor.
But
I also do Marlon Brando.
Let's hear Marlon Brando, and I would love to hear Rod Steiger.
Yes, Brando, I would go like this. And listen to... no, that's why don't we go... Let me do Steiger.
Okay.
I think I'm more thinking.
Okay.
It's Rod Steiger, the pawnbroker.
Okay.
Hey, listen to me, you want, I give you $2. Not, if you don't like it, get the hell out of here, I got these headaches, they're killing me, you know? What's the matter with you? Mr. Weinberg, you're a very unkind man. Get the hell out of here. Here's Brando.
Okay.
Michael, I want you to go to these guys, see what's going on. Send in Pavanini. Tell them you're not happy with the family. Make them an offer, 50, and see what the hell. I'm not too happy with this. Okay?
Beautiful.
Thank
Bravo.
Thank you
Bravo. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I know that you've warmed up, and hopefully
Yes.
our listeners are also warmed
Beautiful.
up. And so you've given us a brief history of your roots. And I would like to know, were there people in your life who worried about you and shared their concerns about your addiction?
Many members of my family, my ma especially. I remember nights I would hear her pray, and she would say, "Don't do anything." My sister said at one time, "Don't do anything stupid." Mm-hmm. But my drinking was like an addiction. I needed to drink to socialize, but I didn't know at the time. Now I know it's a disease.
That's important to stress, that it is such a disease.
The distinction, it is a disease. It's not a moral issue.
Exactly.
It's a disease that a lot of people are affected, and one alcoholic in one family affects the whole family.
It's like a tsunami.
A hurricane, and it's devastating.
Absolutely.
And I've caused some harm in the family. I've done things I regret, which through the steps of my 12-step program, I managed to make amends, move on, and be a better person. Today, it's really, I'm like night and day. I'm not the person I used to be, and
Well, I think you really developed something very profound and very important, which is a conscience.
yes, and a responsibility.
And a responsibility, and to be able
Yes.
to recognize that you needed to make amends to other people is a huge
Yes.
capacity of your heart to be able to let go of your ego and to face somebody, whether directly or indirectly.
It wasn't easy to write that
No.
on paper. Very easy to write on paper, but to look somebody square in the eye and tell them you've stolen from them, or you've done something not right. It takes courage. It takes fortitude, and it takes a higher power. Who I call my good Lord, to have that spiritual connectiveness. That what you're doing is a just thing to. It's a beautiful thing to tell somebody you've done them wrong, because what you're actually doing, you're helping yourself and you're helping that other human being. You're unclogging the sewer of resentment, anger, and emotional disempowerment.
And you're also no longer in denial. You're really facing yourself.
Yes.
And the truth, whether it's dark truth or the lightness of truth, you're facing that. You said something so profound while we were walking over here that's going to stay with me forever and ever. You said a very powerful word, which I think so many human beings suffer from, whether it's an addiction or something else in their life, and it's called shame. And I'm wondering if you can address shame.
Yes. Well, for me, shame was being caught up in a world, a vacuum of negativity, not feeling so good about myself, and having this heavy, like a cinder block, saying I wasn't good enough. I wasn't okay, and when I started to take a look at all those negative feelings and started really working myself, that I was worth something. I wasn't a bad person. I was a sick person getting better.
That's a great distinction. You were not a bad person. You
Yes.
were a sick person who needed to get well.
To get well, to really take a look at that, and we could go back to the distinction of moral and a disease concept.
Go ahead.
Today, I think for me, it's a disease. It is a disease of the attitudes. call it an allergy, whatever. To me, when I drank, I couldn't stop. I tried so many times.
Well, it affected your brain chemistry, so
Yes.
it's a profoundly
Yes.
difficult thing to stop. Just, one cannot just merely say, I have character defects. There's actual, as a disease,
Yes.
it's actually impacting your brain chemistry.
Big time. And for me, how it impacted me was I didn't care, because I always chased through. When I drank alcohol, I was looking for that spiritual happiness, that serenity. But then when I hit that serenity, I went beyond that. I went into a chaos environment. I didn't care. So I was out of the boundary of what civilized people do. I just became erratic, overacted, reacted, and probably done some great harm and didn't care. I was under the influence of alcohol.
That's powerful.
It is very powerful.
Whatever one's addiction is, it
Yes.
does impact one's thinking and one's judgment.
Of course.
until you
It did.
until
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have that big moment,
Yeah.
which I'm going to ask you about. What kind of wake-up calls were you getting? Were you paying attention to any of them? Did you ignore them?
Well, the wake-up call I got was getting rowdy in pubs. Not playing, not going along, being civilized. I didn't care. Dropping stools, my family members saying you're drinking too much, you drink too fast.
So you were really acting out.
I was acting now. My life became an actor. I became an actor without a script. I was acting now, and maybe in a way, deep down, looking for help and attention.
Yes.
And didn't really know what was going on. But I know when I drank, I felt good. But then I went beyond that. I chased the high for 20 years, never got it back.
And you've been sober for how long?
I'm 30, coming up in 32 years of continuous sobriety.
I just
Thank you.
applaud you for that.
Thank you
That's
very
a
much.
remarkable and magnificent achievement.
It certainly is. I'm so proud of myself and
You should be.
my family also.
You really should be.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So what was your bottom or your turning point, the critical defining moment in your life when you knew that you had to do something to change this?
I think for me, when my family kind of gave up, and I gave up on myself, I ended up in the YMCA with maybe $20 in my back pocket. And at the time, I met this beautiful lady who was a great angel, Jenny, Mrs. Liebeck today. God bless her heart. I'm sending them out. God bless you, Jenny. She's seen something in me that nobody else did. She's seen some good. And I was touched. In fact, I want to share a story. We were actually in the park one night, 2 a.m, and she got out of her car and she had a donut with one candle lit. It was my birthday. And she said, "Happy birthday." And I start to cry. And when I think about it, a tears comes from my eyes. And if she's listening and she hears this tape, I love you. You were the best thing ever came into my life. God bless your heart and your husband and your family. And I wish you the very best. She was instrumental in me getting sober.
So she was your earth angel,
She
your messenger.
was, and her family as well.
Beautiful.
Beautiful people.
So
Yes.
there was something very, very loving in that gesture to acknowledge your birthday.
She was a beautiful person, big heart, and just a kind, loving, passionate human being.
And you can't forget that.
I will never forget Jenny.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I hope Jenny's listening.
Yes.
Was it a crystallizing moment, or did a number of things happen over a period of time that gradually shifted you out of addiction and into recovery?
I was in a bar one night having a couple of drinks, Hannington's in 231st in Kingsbridge. And I used to kind of go up my own, that I wouldn't know anybody because they wouldn't know me. So I felt kind of living a secret life. But I was in the bar and I was having a few drinks with this man. I didn't know who he was. And I think we were buying each other a drink for 2 hours. And then he says to me out of the blue, "I'm going to tell you something. Don't take this personal. I think you're an alcoholic." And I said, "Wow, that came out of the blue, blew my mind." I said, "How'd you know that?" He said, "Looking at your eyes." And said, "How would you know that?" I said, "Because I am an alcoholic." And that person was a priest.
Oh.
And I never forgot that. I looked at him and I knew then that the signs were showing up. You got to do something. There's something not right. You're out of control. And And I knew something was dying inside. I wasn't dating any women. I was probably going out with one idea in my mind, using a woman in one way as an object. I was living a kind of shallow life. I wasn't working. I wasn't a productive human being. I wasn't doing what I love like I have today, what I'm doing today. And
were you lonely?
I was very lonely. I would say very lonely. I suffered great lonely times. Never shared that with too many people. But I always was a kind of go-getter. I go out and have fun. I always created good times too.
Well, you have that spirit inside of
I
you.
do, yeah. I'm a survivor.
You're a survivor.
I don't like to lay down in the camera. I like to get up and...
You're a fighter.
I'm unstoppable.
That's good.
I'm a bull.
We like that. We really do.
Yes, thank you.
Can you make a distinction between being lonely and feeling whole and good and enjoying your own company?
For me, good question, Sherry. I think for me, loneliness for the alcoholic is without no hope.
There's no hope in loneliness.
No hope in loneliness. I think if you're lonely, there's two kinds of loneliness today. Is being alone, I could do that, having my privacy. But loneliness for me is probably the downfall for an alcoholic. It's a real... next to self-pity, which is a worst emotion you could ever...
Self-pity and being a victim.
Being a victim, like life is treating
Poor
you.
me.
Poor me another.
Yes.
And that's
Poor
the way...
me another.
Poor me another.
Yes.
And I'm learning. And the other side of the coin is loving yourself and saying, I'm worth something, and I will survive, and I will make a life. And to have that stick-to-ness and to be unstoppable.
Yes, and to enjoy your own company.
Enjoy your own company.
How do you do that? How do you enjoy your own company and not feel lonely?
Well, when I'm in my own company, I always create things to do. Read a good book, watch a good program, and create a possibility of being involved in myself and watching out for those bad thoughts, the disempowering thoughts. I'm not good enough. And to trying to stay positive, say I am good enough and I'm okay. And I don't need to be with somebody to feel good, or I don't need somebody's approval.
Excellent.
It's nice to have it, but I don't need it.
Right, so people don't vote on your life. You are the only one.
I am the captain of my ship.
Beautiful.
As Dr. Wayne Dyer, which
let's talk about him.
Yes, great. I love the guy's books. I think he's a gift to this planet. He's come out with some wonderful books that helped me a lot.
Name that one book we were talking about before.
The name of the book that helped me was Pulling Your Own Strings.
Pulling Your Own Strings, Wayne Dyer.
Taking back control of your life, giving up the victim and being a non-victim.
Not Poor Me, not in Wayne Dyer's book.
No.
No.
Dr. Wayne has no time for it. He's no time for that. He's about transformation.
Yes.
And he's about getting out there, and there's nothing missing.
Beautiful.
Everything is there for you.
You're a whole person.
You're a whole person. You're whole and complete.
Yes.
And I love the guy. He's a wonderful writer and
powerful. Very powerful.
Yes.
So that's something that has really stayed with you.
I would say, and the power of intention.
Yes.
Like when I read those books, I just read and then sit down and listen. My energy is lifted. A pure energy. I just, What I like about one of his books about the dreaming, this is powerful, what touched me. When we dream, we get to do everything in that dream. You can fly around, be a Clark Gable, a John Wayne, and we're having a great time.
Yes.
And then when we wake up, we're so stopped by the thought. Mm-hmm. And what Dr. Wayne Dyer goes on, he says, that's what stops us, it's just the thought. The thought, what got me here today was the thought to be on your radio show.
Exactly. You approached me.
Yes, and that was the thought. Maybe I could do that. And I had my own anxiety. I got to get in front of people or television. And I said, why not create that possibility and have a voice? Now, one of the movies that is so powerful for me was The King's Speech.
Oh, wasn't that amazing?
Powerful movie. And one of the scenes that blew my mind when the teacher says to the king, you have to own your voice.
You have to own your voice. That's not just this voice, but metaphorically.
Your heart,
your
who
whole
you are.
self.
To have courage to
your
stand
identity.
up and have a voice and have people hear that there's hope even for somebody who, like, I can imagine the king he's thrown in to be the king. He has to go public speaking. The guy can't even. He's afraid. He's got an impediment.
He
must
stutters.
have been devastated.
He had to have been so paralyzed.
Yeah.
But his teacher
Yes.
used all these
Give me-
unorthodox
yes, yes,
methods
yes.
to get him.
Give me the penny. The hell with you. I could do one scene.
Go
innit?
right ahead.
Yeah. Sir, when you're in my house, you'll do things my way, and you will not do them any other way. You tell me I'm getting angry with you now. I can't talk. Oh, darling, let him go and do that, will you? And stop making a mess. I want to leave now. Like Claudius and one of my...
Can you do like Claudius?
Yes,
Rose?
well,
That's so fantastic.
This is like Claudius with Caligula, like
Yes.
they're having a conversation in the Senate.
Yes.
So Claudius, Caligula gets up in front of the Senate. He said, "I am your Caesar, and you will bow to me, you sons of guns. I want to introduce my lovable cousin Claudius. Claudius, get up here." Thank you, Caligula. You honor me with this thing. Oh, shut up. You're embarrassing you. You humiliate me. What do you think of me, Claudius? I think you're a god. I do, you see. Well, thank you, old chap.
Well, it's so wonderful that you have a voice.
Yes.
And you're unafraid to speak out and take a stand.
Yes.
You have conviction, and you have such a warm heart and such a clarity. And the 12 steps have certainly helped you to get there.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything about how the 12 steps can help other people as well?
Well, when I came into my program, I didn't know what to expect. I was confused, lonely, angry, and out of it. When I started to apply the steps in my life, I really got this thing of powerlessness, the first step.
You understood about powerlessness.
Yes, because all my life I was powerless in a way, but I didn't. I acknowledged them different when I'd done the steps. It gave me a sense of purpose. It allowed me to make amends to people that I offended. It cleaned up a lot of my negative thinking, and it's given me a passport to be a newborn creature in a way that's so powerful that my goal today is when I do share and I'm with people, I'm going to touch and inspire them in such a way that they won't leave they won't leave the same person when I met them.
That's a very compelling statement.
And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, you certainly share from your heart, and I feel that deeply when you speak.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome. Thank you, because I know that you touch people, and you have decades of experience, having gone through such profound struggle and pain and sorrow and agony, and you really were in the darkest of places, in despair, and I would imagine doubt and without hope. And I think your journey certainly shows that a person can live in hope and in possibility, and they can make their dreams come true. And you are certainly still doing that.
Thank you.
You're,
It's very kind.
oh, it's not just kind, it's certainly what you've manifested.
Yes.
And I think that the message here is that if you can manifest this, the question I pose to my listeners is, what is stopping you from pursuing your dreams and taking Frank as your role model and your example of somebody who transformed his life in such a magnificent way that it's possible for all of us, that we're all a work in progress, don't you think?
Yes, Cheryl, 100%.
You know, we're never done. We should always continue to grow, no matter what.
100%. I do what you said is right on, because I learned not to be unstoppable, to put my mind, have a vision to go after it. And it's not like setting goals or having material possession, but having freedom within to be above those kind of things we go after in life, because they really don't. I had material things. They never made me happy.
They don't.
No.
No.
What makes me happy today is going up and telling somebody I care about them,
Yes.
embracing them,
Holding them.
and being real
And
with
connecting.
them, connecting with
Having
them,
a real connection.
100% connected
Right.
with them.
Because we can enjoy material things, but if we don't have our health and our heart,
We
then
don't have a
we don't
whole
really
lot.
have anything.
We don't have too much.
We don't have too much. I'm just wondering, is there any questions of any? Oh, that's too bad. All right. Well, maybe we'll still get some as we edge toward. Can you believe it's almost 30 minutes that we're
Wow.
sitting here?
Yeah, no.
That's surprising, isn't
Wow,
it?
it went fast, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Frank, I would like to also know, what personal message can you pass along to people who are struggling with their addiction? And I would like to ask you what you want to leave our listeners with tonight to pay it forward, because you've given so much of yourself tonight. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, for the person who's struggling, get into a good 12-step program. Don't be ashamed of your illness, whether it's overeating, alcohol, smoking. If you got that passion to stop your addiction, there's help out there. And as I said, I came in 1981 to my first meeting, and I didn't know what was going on, but I stuck around, and I got hope, and then I got happy, and then I got responsibility. Today, my life is totally different, and it's joy, it's free. I'm a man of honor with dignity. I can come and go, and I'm above the good opinion of people.
And you have freedom.
And the freedom is unbelievable. It is at times a little frightening, because when sobriety gives you freedom, and it's wonderful. I thought I got freedom through alcohol. No, sir. No, ma'am.
Well, there can't be freedom in any addiction.
No, there's no. It's an entrapment. Addictions are imprisonment.
They're seductive.
Yeah, they're seductive, and you are trapped, and the addiction are your jailer.
Yes.
Today, my life is not addiction. It's about freedom of expression, creating a possibility. And in my logo, in my business card, it says, "Let me create a possibility." And I'll end with this. For me, creating a possibility coming on this show, and I want to thank you and acknowledge you, Sherry, and your
you.
producer.
Thank
and I
you.
feel really good that anybody, if they want to get help, they can get that help.
It's out there.
It's out there, and there's some wonderful people out there, and so many, there's so much help. You do not have to suffer alone. You do not have to be lonely or feeling shame like I did. You are a unique human being, and let you, as you say, let the butterfly fly like a butterfly.
Yes, exactly. Come out of the cocoon and
Come out of the cocoon.
and transform yourself.
Transform yourself.
Good. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Frank. Thank
Sharon.
you
Thank you
for
very
taking the
much.
time to be with us tonight. You've made a wonderful contribution to this show.
I'm honored.
And people will be listening not only tonight, but we have podcasts that people go to and listen to in the archives.
Beautiful.
So that's all the time we have for now. Next week, please join me for a hilarious show with my brother, Charlie Adler, on the life-affirming topic that we cannot live without, which is humor. Try not to laugh along with us. Once again, you can reach me here at my home away from home, rocklandworldradio.com. All shows are podcast, so if you missed the show, find it in the archives. You can reach me at soberuniversity.com or my professional office number 845-358-4652. Remember, if you're going to crave anything, crave living your life to the fullest. Maximize all you have and squander nothing. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me tonight. See you next time. Good night.
Good night.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.